Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you doing, Brian Keith? First in here, it's just me, you, Dynamite, and Denise Hatton. Hello, hey Denise, how you doing? Oh, yes, you're actually making for life at the beginning. Yes, well, it's only 5 people watching, 7, going up slowly. Uh, Thank you all for being here. Figured it was Sunday. Not a lot of YouTubers putting out content on Sundays, so I figured I'd get on here and say hello to you for a while. Hey, Coffee First, how you doing? Sherman, that's right, FJB. Oath Taker, Oath Taker's in the house. How you doing? And give it a few seconds and see if anybody else pops in here before we get this thing started. All right, any of my folks down in Tennessee? Speaking of which, speak of the devil. Hope you all are fine. I know that Dome Seeker and Chewbacca, they're further to the east of where the tornadoes were at, so I'm fairly certain they're okay. Um, We're the Resistance. Good afternoon. Hey, Teresa, how are you? Robin Prater, how are you doing, hon? Glad you could be here. All right, let's jump on into this and we'll talk about no speech for you, the global attack on free speech. All right, and then I'll hop back into the chat and see what opinions, comments you might have on the subject. There've always been limits on what you can say. There's always, every government, even the United States government, has had limits to free speech. We all know that you can't shout fire in a crowded theater. You're inciting a panic if there's no fire. If there is a fire, by all means, shout fire. So there's different context and situations where speech is allowed and speech is not allowed, or it's severely frowned upon. And this is not just a US thing, it's a global thing. I mean, if we look at Russia, China, the United Kingdom, Israel, you name a country, there are things that you can say and there are things that you can't. Some countries that have monarchies, if you speak poorly about the royal family, it's a fast ticket to get your ass in a slammer in a foreign nation or in that nation. I've been to many of those. Thailand, Saudi Arabia, uh, pick a Middle Eastern country, okay? Pick an Asian country that has a monarch. You do not speak poorly about the royal families. That's just the way things are. I believe England has some of those laws and stipulations as well. All right, there's certain things you can and cannot say pertaining royalty in other countries. The same thing applies here. We just have different standards. The same thing applies in the US. There are things you can't say about the president that will immediately have men in suits knocking on your door. Okay. And I think we all know what those are. There's always limits and control. But what we're actually starting to see now, what we're seeing now, isn't so much of a death of free speech as a whole. We're seeing the control or attempted control by two opposing forces, basically the woke and the anti woke. That's what we're actually seeing right now. And what made me decide to do this video was the recent the UPenn uh, director, chairperson, whoever, the woman in charge of University of Pennsylvania, who was brought before a congressional hearing on anti-Semitic speech. Okay, regardless of your views, we had direct government involvement, and the First Amendment is to protect. A lot of people. Let's back this up a space. A lot of people assume that free speech means you can say anything you want, whatever you feel like, and there'll be no consequences. No, that is not what freedom of speech in the United States means. Freedom of speech means that there will be no government reprisal for your speech. Okay? Government reprisal. That's all it covers. If your employer decides to fire you because you say some shit that they disagree with, you are not covered under free speech. All right. And a lot of people think, oh, just if I say that and my employer fires me, well, I'll sue for what? Violation of free speech. It's not what the First Amendment says. It protects you only from government reprisal. That's it. Federal and state reprisal, government reprisal. That's all you're protected from. So if you're out walking through Walmart and you see somebody of a certain color and you make a derogatory statement about their color and they blast you in the mouth, you can't say, well, you violated my free speech. No, that's not protected, Slip. You know, there's consequences in the real world, real time, quite often. But I wanted to dig into this because the chairperson, what was her name? Liz McGill, was actually brought before Congress. Okay. And from her statement, though, I think you shouldn't ask or support genocide of any group of persons. Any. She was asked if people speaking about the extermination of people of Jewish descent was against the policies of Harvard, or pardon me, UPenn. She went to Harvard. This woman did. And she said, as long as no one is acting upon anything, then there's no policy against it. And they're like, so you're saying it's okay? The woman never said this was okay. She simply was saying it's free speech. People can say whatever they want as long as they're not acting upon it or causing others to act upon it. That there's really nothing they can do because it's free speech. So here we have direct government involvement trying to hammer this woman, which completely goes against our First Amendment. And yes, the woman, the members of Congress that were hammering this woman were Republicans. So before anyone says, well, you're looking at this slant, no, most of you know I usually vote Republican. And to see a Republican chairperson hammering somebody over freedom of speech, I just don't agree with that. I can't get on board that train. Now, yes, there are instances where the left will point at the right and say, well, you're limiting free speech, as in Florida, because, they passed a bunch of bills. The Don't Say Gay bill is what they called it. The left called it that. The people who wrote it didn't call it that, which limits classroom discussions for predominantly elementary school children on the LGBT topics. Okay. Again, speech has limits. All right. If the parents of schools don't want something taught to their kids and they're the ones paying for the schools, they can decide what they do and do not want. The government is simply stepping in saying that you can't force these children to learn this stuff. Okay. So there is a difference, whether the left likes it or not. However, the right is doing the same things, as in this example with this Liz McGill, the UPenn, former head of UPenn. All right. Border Patrol agents have been told by the White House and Homeland Security that they are to use preferred pronouns when dealing with people that they're interacting with. All right, whether they be caught crossing the border or doing a vehicle inspection, they should use the person's preferred pronouns. This is madness, and it does fall into the freedom of speech. Your government shouldn't be telling you, even though they're your employer, what you can and cannot say. All right, in regards to something that defies your common sense and your knowledge. If you see, how are these Border Patrol agents going? We got 4 runners on foot. Can you give me a description? 4 humanoids, approximately between 4'3" and 5'11", heading north. That's literally what they're going to be limited to, because you can't give race, you can't give, again, oh, it was 4 males or 3 males and a female. No, uh, when we catch them, we will identify. We will ask them what they are. No, that's it's madness. Okay, but we've been seeing on the news, and you're seeing it a lot now. I've seen it over and over again today on Fox News, on CNN, on OAN, on Sky News. Uh, what else did I watch today? Reuters, uh, and the BBC, a couple other news channels that I watched today. I can't think of the names off the top of my head, but they're all talking about today and the past few days anti-Semitism. So it finally got me curious, because all my life, when I heard anti-Semitism, we think World War II, we think Nazis, okay? We think of that type of behavior, okay? So I decided, because I like to learn and I like to make sure you guys learn too, I decided to find out exactly what the topic is. To understand anti-Semitism, one must figure out what Semitism is. That's logical. Well, Webster's dictionary, pardon me, yes, let's see, that is Merriam-Webster's dictionary definition. Semitism, policies or predisposition favorable to Jews. Well, I don't think, and this is just me, and this is when it might shut my stream down, I don't think there should be policies or predispositions favorable to any specific race, religion, or category of people. So by me simply saying that there should be no policy or predisposition favorable to any specific race, nationality, religion, or group, that is by definition anti-Semitic talk. If I said that exact thing in England right now, I would be arrested. Think about that. That is I just read you the definition of Semitism. So anti-Semitism is speaking against policies or predispositions favorable specifically to Jews, which is funny because Semitism is, we've already been over before in other videos what Semitic is. Semitic is Hebrew, is Arabic, and what was the language of Christ? Drop it in a thread. Jesus spoke. What was it? It's on the tip of my tongue. Can't think of it right now. Aramaic. Thank you, Pilgrim. Aramaic. I hate it when those words get stuck on the tip of your tongue and you can't figure out what they were. So basically, anything Semitic is, if you're Christian, Jew, or Muslim, your roots of your religion are Semitic. Okay, so for anyone to say anti-Semitic, that's against all of those groups, but somehow it has been narrowed down to specifically just the Jewish faith. But again, anti-Semitism, it's all over the news, all over the media right now. And I went to if you go to the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, they have a website, the IHRA. They have a list of what is anti-Semitic. Holding Jews collectively responsible for actions of the state of Israel. Let me say that again. Holding Jews collectively responsible for actions of the state of Israel is anti-Semitic. By that same logic, holding Palestinians accountable for the actions of the Hamas government, what would that be? Also, hypocrisy is in here. using the symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism. Okay, I get that. Drawing comparisons of contemporary modern Israeli policy to that of the Nazis' policies. That is anti-Semitic, according to the Israeli government. So the Israeli government, not the Jewish people, have framed that whatever policies they have that may be identical to policies of former German parties can't be spoken about, or else it's a crime in certain countries, predominantly the UK and Israel itself. That is the Ministry of Truth. That's total 1984 Orwellian control of speech and thought. Okay. What else do we have here? Let's talk about X, formerly Twitter. Okay. The reason I even started an X and a Twitter was because Elon Musk started coming under attack. And finally he was like, you know what? F you. Some of you have heard that when he actually said, if you're trying to blackmail me with money, you can go F yourself. See, I'm watching my language. That's when I was like, oh, dude, you just said go F yourself on live TV. I'm totally going to support his platform, Twitter, now X. But I noticed a week before that, about 2 weeks ago, they were talking about, he was losing all kinds of advertisers due to IBM being somehow slightly associated with the far right Nazi movement, this, that, and the other. And IBM got offended and pulled their advertising from X. And a lot of people were getting upset because, they're associating IBM with Nazis. Is that fun fact? You know how in the 1940s, Jews got this little tattoo on their wrist. All right, they were marched into camps, and horrible bad things happened to them. And everybody talks about the efficiency of the Nazi war machine, the efficiency of the Holocaust. Well, do you know who set that up? Does anybody know who set up the efficiency of the Holocaust? If you know, drop it in the thread. I'll wait about 10 seconds for you. Do 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 do. Dynamite with the IBM win. Yes, IBM literally created the calculation machines on behalf of the Third Reich, knowing what they were going to be used for tabulating and calculating the movement of humans through the system onto the trains and onto the camps. It was literally IBM. And if you go to, again, the International Holocaust Remembrance Association, or whatever it's called, Alliance, IBM's subsidiary, with the knowledge of its New York headquarters, enthusiastically custom designed the complex devices and specialized applications as an official corporate undertaking. Top management was comprised of openly rabid Nazis who were arrested after the war for their party affiliation. IBM New York always understood from the outset in 1933 that it was courting and doing business with the upper echelons of the Nazi Party. The company leveraged its Nazi Party connections to continuously enhance its business relationships with Hitler's Reich in Germany and throughout Nazi-dominated Europe. So, there's that fun bit of IBM history. All right. So, right now, as I said, what we're actually seeing is a battle for control of speech based off of woke ideology and anti-woke ideology, not anti-Semitism, not anti this, that, or the other. It's woke versus anti-woke. It's good, wholesome American values and all the other crap. All right. That's what you're seeing right now. You know, it's fact. But you need to change your perspective of how you see things. You need to see things for more than what they are. Don't just support, oh, well, these Republicans are coming down. You know, I'm a Republican, so I'm going to stick with the Republicans. And if you're a Republican, call out Republicans when they do bullshit like holding people at the government level, saying, hey, come talk to Congress because we don't like you saying whatever it is they want to say. And if you're a Democrat, you know, call out the Democrats when they're saying shit that goes against core beliefs. We need to get back to a foundation. All right. And you're always going to have controlled speech. Always going to have controlled speech, because you control speech, you control the population. Go back to the Bible. All right. I know a lot of people, half the people like the Bible, half the people don't like the Bible in this country anymore. But at the end of the day, you cannot argue against the fact that the Bible was consolidated by kings, and they decided what was going to be in and what was going to be left out, giving you the modern version of the Bible. Half the Bibles out there say version on it. Version. All right. 4 out of 12 witnesses wrote the Bible. Where are the other 8? Well, 1 didn't make it. 1 hung itself. But where are the other 7? Where's the information from the other 7? Because speech was controlled all the way back then. It will be controlled in the future. All right. Expect it. The thing we need to understand, the things we need to cling to, are what speech we're allowing to be controlled. What speech, how far we allow them to go with controlling the speech. Okay. Because as we understand, most people in this community understand, Russia, look at Russia. Russia has so many laws against the LBGT propaganda, and most of us go, that's a good thing. Do what you want in your own home, but you don't need to be putting it on TV. If 1% of the population is in that demographic, why does 70% of the television have it embedded in it? It becomes propaganda. We have to cut out propaganda across the board. Okay. Anything in the chat? Anybody want to talk about any points? Musket Mervs at IBM loves those sweet, sweet German pesos. I believe they were called Deutschmarks, but yeah, I got you. Oh, let's see. Dome Seeker says absolutely. Pilgrim, it's edited. Yes, everything is edited. Chaos Prepper for what the kings wanted. Yes. Let's see. No kings, one emperor. It depends on how you want to look at it, because at the Council of Nicaea, there were a bunch of other people. And when you're talking about kings and emperors, they break down into a hierarchy across regions, and power is power. And if you have the power of a king in that region, then you're the king of that area, So, yeah, it's semantics. Constantine. Wow, it takes a long time to bake. I'm sure it's what's being cooked. I like cookies. Okay, Pilgrim says, Warlord, what do you think about FBI warning for Christmas time? If you're talking about the potential for Hamas strikes, again, previous videos, either they're opening the gates to let them through, or they're going to do it themselves and just blame it on them if something like that were to happen. We typically don't see a lot of terrorism around Christmas time, although for years they're like, oh, you got to watch out because it's Christmas time. You got to remember that in the Islamic religion, that Jesus is considered a holy prophet of God that was divinely created. So he's in their book too. Maybe before or after Christmas, large events, any large gatherings, soft targets, terrorists like soft targets. Now we're getting off the topic of free speech and we're swooping into terrorism. One, terrorists like soft targets. Two, they like large, easy targets. Okay, soft, easy, but they like large targets. All right, mass casualties. And so, truthfully, most of your soft, easy, large, mass casualty targets tend to be in very liberal areas. I mean, if you look at it, every time it's liberal areas. So, and I know people are like, well, yeah, but innocent and good people are there too. Look, liberals are my enemy. I mean, some people don't like that. I don't care. Liberals are trying to destroy any person who is attempting to attack my conservative way of life, whether they be foreign or domestic, are my enemy. If you are trying to teach my kid that he can chop his willy off and get booby implants, you're my enemy. That's just the way it is. And you know what? I don't care if people want to say that's hate speech. You're right. I hate that those people do that shit. Okay. Do I want to round them all up and put them on a train? No. I want them to leave voluntarily first. But if it comes to that, and this is why I was labeled a domestic extremist on Discord and permanently banned from Discord. I mean, I'll give you a choice. Leave. You can leave in peace, or you can leave in pieces. I don't care. Just go away and leave me alone. Let's see. Down a rabbit hole with D. I agree with that, Rob, 100%. They are infringing on our rights. Yes, but if you speak out against it, you're the one who's full of hate. Okay? And wear it with a badge of pride. Wear it with a badge of pride. It is. I get on Facebook. I was on Facebook last night. Somebody posted that. Oh, a friend of mine literally posted. What was it? I don't mean to brag, but I've been the same gender my whole life. And people were already hopping down in there upset with him. And I commented, I said, you're going to get all the mentally ill spun up with that one. And he was like, ha, ha, ha. And then I just tagged the other people. And I was like, see, you're already getting them spun up. Because I'm an asshole like that. But I'll call it as it is. Need to open up more sane asylums. No, we just don't have any anymore. They're closed. I mean, you look back 50 years ago, we had insane asylums. There's literally a closed one, 4 miles, 3 miles, as the crow flies from me, right there in that direction. That's been abandoned for a couple decades. Shut up, closed in. We let them all out. We stopped treating mental illness. We started accepting and saying, "Oh well, it's okay. It's it's just the way you are." No, it's part of a. If you listen to old AJ, old Alex Jones, it's part of a planned deconstruction, demolition of our culture, of Western culture. When in reality, at this current point in time, we have more old school Western culture. Do you want to see it? If you want to see old school Western culture, if you want to see how it was in the 1920s, the 1930s, go to a Middle Eastern country other than Israel. And you will see it. Men going to work, women raising kids. Now, I know some women will be like, oh, well, that's chauvinist. Well, we'll get over it. Get over it. I'll make a whole nother video on, if you really want, I'll make a whole nother video on that topic. They've intentionally brainwashed women to supplement the male role. All right, they've deconstructed the nuclear family from the first. They deconstructed the clan family, broke it down to a nuclear family, and then started tearing that apart. And if you don't think it was planned, then you're naive. All you got to do is basic research, and you can see where they've deconstructed it. Because if they deconstruct it enough, then they just control everything, everybody. Because there can only be one big daddy, and that's going to be the government. All right. But yeah, if you want to see what we consider traditional Western culture, go to the Middle East. You'll see it. You'll see it. But they've conditioned you to think that, oh, well, those people are savages. If you look at modern day countries in the Middle East, that with the ones without a lot of U.S. interference and intervention, and you look at the family and the lifestyles of the U.S., the family styles, not the technology, the family styles of the 18 and early 1900s, you will see the same belief systems, the same value systems. You will. Government won't tell you that. You got to actually get on a plane, fly all the way across or around the world, depending on which plane of existence you think we're on. Yeah, dome seeker. And get off the plane and look with your eyeballs. And if you do that, I promise you, you would be shocked. You'd be like, that's why I said I've literally walked around, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night in Middle Eastern countries. And people were like, oh, you weren't terrified? No, I actually felt a lot safer than I have in Wheeling, West Virginia. Okay. At that time of night. Because I know there's some harsh consequences if somebody does something to me. Mm-hmm. If somebody robs me, if somebody tries to do something, there's some pretty harsh consequences. But people don't see it because we don't travel a lot. Most of you don't. I'd be willing to bet that less than 10% of you actually have passports right now. Mine's right there. All right. As most of you know, I was just recently out of the country swimming with dolphins and shit. Robin Prater. Oh, she's talking that coffee. Okay. You used to be able to raise a family on one income. Yes. You are correct. Window liquor prepper. You used to be able to raise a family on one income. And that's because the U.S. government has been devaluing our currency. All right. I've said it before. If you had, an ounce of gold today, 2,000, 2,030 bucks, something like that, as of yesterday or the day before. If you had 1 ounce of gold today, that it will still buy the same amount of goods as that 1 ounce of gold would 50 years ago. It'll still buy the exact same amount of beans and rice. But the currency, the actual cash, is what's changed. All right, we've devalued. They got a printing press, which makes the dollar worth more. That's why gold and silver are good to have. It's just the way it is. People either understand money and currency or they don't. Pilgrim says he won't leave the U.S. Why not? There's a lot of awesome stuff out there. There is. I mean, if you look, all of your ancestors came from somewhere else. All right. They came here, and now here's just like everywhere else. Outside the U.S. is pretty neat. Got to get around, meet new people, experience other cultures. And the more of them you meet, the less ability your government has to pull the wool over your eyes. Okay. Robin Prater says we were screwed when we went to work rather than staying home with our kids. That was a big problem. That was a big part of the problem. But they knew that if they could convince you that, oh, well, the Bible's wrong, the Quran is wrong, the Jewish Torah is wrong, you should be out there being, doing everything that men do. They knew if they could do that, then they could break apart everything and make everybody easier to hook to the strings, hook their little marionette strings up. What's Darren saying? It's scary. Darren. Something about volcanoes. There's all kinds of tech out there. I mean, we could go on forever about the different things that the U.S. government has and how they can use them. We thought we would be equal to men. Robin Prater says, we thought being equal to men would be good. Nope. Well, Robin, there's two sides to every coin. All right. There's equal and opposites. Women always were equal. They were just opposites. Okay. That's what made it work. But nowadays you have equal and same. And that doesn't work. All right. You have to have equal and opposite. Okay. You have to have this one complements this one. If this one, a key and a lock fit together, huh? One without the other is useless. But now everybody wants to be a key and put key and key together, or a lock and lock together, and go, why doesn't shit work? Because it wasn't designed to. It wasn't designed to. And here we go, because I have crazy thoughts sometimes while I'm driving around. People that are, and I know some of you don't believe in a higher power. That's okay for you. That's okay for you. But I was thinking of this today when they were talking about, I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he was talking about aliens and, whether the universe was created by a god or by a big bang. And Joe Rogan is definitely on the God side. But when you think of the fact that as advanced as humans are, we cannot create life. Think about that. What I want the people who say, well, I don't think there's a God, or I don't know if there's a God. I submit to you. All right. Humans, as technologically as advanced as we are, we can't take the basic elements of the periodic table. We can't take basic atoms and put them together and create even a single-celled organism. We can't do that. Every single-celled organism is made up of molecules that are stuck together. We cannot create life. All right. We can't just take a bunch of shit out of the environment and create life. We have to already have created cells that were already created in nature. And then we can manipulate those like viruses and doctor those around, or we can make other things in labs based off of already living things. But we cannot create life. And I submit to you that whatever the force is that did create life, that did push this one together with this molecule, with that atom, and this atom, and this atom, to make something that was actually alive, whatever that is God. Oh, Militant Roots, we are actually that far off. We are. There's literally, they don't even have a grasp of how to do it. No. So there's that. Bingo77 says, Warlord, as much as I agree with you about the clan family and how Middle East society works, it's hard to argue with the technological advances and the ease of life in current America. And why is that? Yes, current advances and ease of life. I'll give you that. That is here, okay? But I will submit to you that advances and ease are not inherently good. Are not inherently good. They don't happen to just, well, it's more advanced, it's easier, so it's better. Often, the harder something is, the better it is. All right. A prime example, you can buy stuff at Walmart. You can buy furniture at Walmart that was easy to get, and it was easily made on a production line in China. Or you can go to an Amish woods craftsman and have him make you furniture. Which is better? How about that? It's done the old school way. And it's normally, I think most people would agree, that the craftsmanship you will get from the Amish versus a Chinese factory is far superior than whatever will come off that Chinese assembly line. Okay. Yeah, it's easy to click on the TV. You know, you might be in a place in the Middle East and they're like, there's not a TV around. But when you click on a TV and it's just flooding you with propaganda and materialism and buy this and take this drug and do this, obey, 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 buy, submit, obey, doesn't make it better. Okay? But I do thank you for your comment. What's up there, shadow banning? I'm just going to call you shadow banning because I'm not reading that shit the whole time. Militant Root says, respectfully disagree. Synthetic morphology is making huge advancements. It's kind of scary. Well, we will. I will dig into that. Matter of fact, here, I'll Alex Jones that shit. Synthetic morphology. All right, but the word synthetic means not real. But I'll look into it. Who was that? Militant Roots. I'm gonna write that down. So Militant Roots. See, this is interactive. I mean, we can have this little interaction here. Bingo 77 says, okay, I'll give you that one. That's just one example, and I could pull out a dozen more. Here's a really good one. You go to a school in the Middle East, all right, Bahrain. I always remember going past that school every day on my way to my little operations center. All right, I'd go past the elementary school, and every day, guess what was there? Right out front, dudes with machine guns, just looking around, wishing a mother would. Huh? Yeah. Go to the bank, guess what? And there wasn't no armed guards at the bank. But there were at the school because they put a higher value on the safety of their children than on their money. That alone speaks volumes. And I'll never forget that. That's why I like the school my kids go to, because there's armed dudes there. And I know that they will shoot people that tried to shoot my people. Protecting the babies. That's right. It's all about protecting the babies. And when I saw that, I was like, you just don't see that in the middle in the US. You just don't see it. All right. If there's nothing else, we're going to call this stream a day. It's been, almost 45 minutes. And give it one more minute just to make it an even 45. But I really appreciate all of you being here. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this stuff, for liking this stuff, for doing the thumbs up, all that stuff. Yes, everyone have a blessed day. Thank you for being here, Teresa. Thanks, Dome Seekers. It was a great live. Hope and tell all the little ones I said hi. Tell Odie I said hi. James McGinn, we're just ending this. So you're going to have to catch the replay. But thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. I'll try to do a live on Sundays from now on if I get a chance, just because there's nobody else out here talking to you guys. And I know you guys are like me. You're like, man, it's Sunday. I wake up every Saturday morning, and I'm like, when's Prepper Nation? Oh, shit, it's Saturday. That's how I know it's Saturday. When there's no Prepper Nation video, I know it's Saturday because I don't really keep track of days very well. And I know it probably happens to some of you too. You're like, oh, shit, it's Saturday. Ain't nothing on. Oh, hey, shit, it's Sunday. Ain't nothing on. Well, I'm going to try to do something for y'all as often as I can. All right. So y'all have a good day. Good night. God bless. And thanks for being here. I'm out.